All right, Wayne Allyn Roots. Do we have a song called Back in the Saddle Again? I'm back in the saddle again after 2 weeks in Asia. I've been off the air. That means for, 2 weeks is 14 days, but when you count weekends, at least 10 days. And I think a Friday before that. So probably I've been gone 11 consecutive days. Hopefully that will never happen again because I missed you, and I hope you missed me. But I had no choice. I was in Asia. I was paid well for a 2-week road show to give my opinion of the Trump phenomenon, how Donald Trump won, why Donald Trump won, how I predicted it all, and most importantly, what his effect as president would be on the world economy, the global economy, and in particular, the Asian economy. I was in 5 countries, 6 cities, 9 speeches over 14 days. So it was an exhausting, grueling 2 weeks, but an exhilarating 2 weeks. And I got to meet hundreds and hundreds, perhaps thousands, certainly, 1,000 or more Asians. My audience was about 90% Chinese and about 10% Muslim, believe it or not, and had a chance to be on Fox News this weekend on Fox and Friends Saturday morning. Fox News asked me to discuss what I found when I went to Asia about how foreigners feel about Donald Trump and how the media is lying. The Americans love Trump. And foreigners love Trump, too. And I wrote about it in the RJ and talked about it on Fox News. And I'll tell you all about it here on the show. I'm in a great mood. I'm so happy to be back. I love being on the radio. And I really missed all of you. And I really missed radio. And by the way, the first hour, I left no guests. So it can just be us, you and me talking. So I've got my usual root rant. And I've got your calls. And that's going to fill the 3 o'clock hour. In the 4 o'clock hour, we have a local guest, Stavros Anthony, in studio, Las Vegas City Councilman, running for re-election. And early voting starts March 18th, and I love Anthony. And so, or I should say I love Stavros Anthony, and therefore I wanted to get him on the show to talk about why he deserves re-election, and he does. And we'll do that at about 4:20. At 5:20, we've got Nelson Sardelli in the studio from the Italian-American Club of Las Vegas. The Italian-American Club is throwing a big event on this Thursday, just in time for me to get home, making me Italian. I was born Jewish, but in an all-Italian neighborhood. I always wanted to be Italian and always wanted to be a part of that wonderful culture, and they are knighting me Italian on Thursday, starting at 11:30 at the Italian-American Club. Their club is officially called Fiore, Fiore, and he will be in, Nelson Sardelli, to talk about the event, because all of you are invited, and he'll tell you how to get tickets to the luncheon honoring and probably roasting yours truly, Wayne Allyn Root, but most importantly, making me Italian. So from now on, I'm a Jewish Italian. I love it. All right, so before I get to my usual root rant and I get to your calls, and I'd love you to call in, the phone number's 844-WAR-NOW-1, 844 toll-free, WAR-NOW-1, 844-WAR-NOW-1, and you will automatically get on the air because I'm telling you, over the next hour, I'm taking all your calls, every single one of them. We're going to have fun, and we'll take calls throughout the show, but this whole hour is open. So no matter where you are, Las Vegas or Palm Springs, it's 844, toll-free, WAR-NOW-1. And that adds up, by the way, to 844-927-6691, I believe is the number. In any case, 844-WAR-NOW-1. Breaking news, it just came in seconds ago. Bank of America has taken Sheldon Adelson's place, and they will bankroll Raiders Stadium in Las Vegas. So that deal is not only not dead, it's back to 100% a go. There's not a reason in the world why the NFL would say no if the money's in the bank. And Bank of America will bankroll, excuse the pun, the $1.9 billion Las Vegas football stadium sought by Raiders owner Mark Davis, paving the way for the move of his Oakland Raiders franchise to Las Vegas. Davis, the Raiders team president, informed the league's finance committee the funding is in place for the 65,000-seat domed facility with the banking giant. The Raiders told the finance and stadium committees everything's in place for a relocation vote at the annual meeting, March 26th to the 29th in Phoenix. 24 of the 32 owners must approve the proposal. The vote could be delayed until the next time owners convene in May in Chicago. They don't have to vote in that, original meeting in March. But prior to the Monday's meeting, Jaguars owner Shad Khan told the RJ much work needs to be done before the NFL becomes a reality. it will get done when it gets done, he said. So they're not in a rush, but at the same time, it sounds like the deal should be a go. The Las Vegas Stadium Authority would own the multi-purpose stadium, which would be utilized by UNLV football. You know I want the Raiders to come here. Big NFL fan. Think it'll be good for the town, good for property values, good for the reputation and brand of Las Vegas. But on the other hand, probably a lousy deal for taxpayers. I was frustrated by the actual details of the deal. I want the Raiders. I just think the taxpayers got the short end of the stick. You know, when they say in that last paragraph, the Vegas Stadium Authority would own the multi-purpose stadium, you know, government is such a bunch of scummy ripoff artists. Really? Why does Las Vegas Stadium Authority own the multi-purpose stadium when the taxpayers are paying $750 million for it? The taxpayers of Las Vegas should own the stadium. That's who should own the stadium. And if it's a hotel tax, primarily, then I guess the tourists should own the stadium combined with the taxpayers. But the Stadium Authority isn't putting up the money. The people are. And the NFL is, and Mark Davis is, and of course now B of A is. But the one group putting up the most money gets no ownership. So I love the Raiders. I want them to come to Vegas. I think it's good for Vegas. But this is a crappy deal. Plain and simple. It's just not a good deal for the taxpayers. And I've known that from day one, and I've said it on this station from day one, but I've still said that I want them so badly. I guess there's no choice. And being that the bill is on tourists, not on us, okay, but is it really not on us? Because it seems to me they're taking the cap off the property taxes. They're so anxious to do that up in Carson City as we speak. And I think those two are tied together. They're saying it's not on the taxpayers, yet they need so much more money, and that's probably because it is on the taxpayers. So if you ask me, government's full of scummy liars and thieves and frauds and slime balls and scam artists and just plain scumbags. That's what government's filled with. And I think that they're lying when they say the money is not being taken from the people, it's being taken from tourists, because that's why they have to take the cap off the property taxes, because the money's coming from us. You know, of course, you could couch it in any flowery words you want. You could say that the tourists are going to pay for it, but then there's a shortfall somewhere else, and then you blame that on the fact that property taxes aren't high enough, so you have to release the cap on the property tax or remove the cap on the property taxes. But the reality is, if you never had the stadium, you wouldn't need to remove the cap because there wouldn't have been a hole somewhere else. You want to bet? I'll bet you money that's exactly what's happening. All right. So, on to the Root Rant. That was just late breaking news about the Raiders. And, of course, we will ask Stavros Anthony, who's in studio at 420, about that. I think it's a very important question, where he stands on the stadium deal and how it all came about, and property tax cap, and other issues for Vegas. And soon this show will be nationally syndicated, and it'll be much less of a purely Vegas show and more of a national. But I'll always have, I repeat, always have a Vegas flair to this show, because Vegas, I think, is the most important city in this country. You know, there wasn't a person in Asia who doesn't know Vegas, hasn't traveled to Vegas, doesn't love Vegas, or doesn't want to come to Vegas. Not one person I met in Jakarta, Indonesia, or in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, or in Penang, Malaysia, or in Hong Kong, or in Singapore, all the places I was, not one person doesn't have their eyes light up when I mention that I'm from Las Vegas. And they all go, Las Vegas! Everybody around the world loves Las Vegas. Everyone, everywhere. All right, so when we get back, we're taking a break. When we get back, we'll be talking about some of my commentaries in the R.J. Trump's voter fraud investigation should start in Nevada. And my 2-week trip to Asia proves Trump's on the right track. And we'll be taking your calls. This entire hour is devoted to your calls. And the lines are open, so call in now. 844-WAR-NOW-1. 844-WAR-NOW-1 as in W.A.R. NOW1. My name is Wayne Allyn Root, as in war. Wayne Allyn Root, W.A.R. 844-WAR-NOW-1, toll-free number. Whether you're calling from Vegas or you're calling from Palm Springs, it is toll-free, and soon it'll be all over the United States. We'll be announcing national syndication in the next few days. Wayne Allyn Root, War Now, 790 Talk Now, and, of course, 98.1 Palm Springs. We'll be right back, and when we do, we'll be taking your calls. So get on the line now. All right, Wayne Allyn Root, welcome back to all of you. I hope you welcome me back. Hope it's music to your ears that I'm back in the saddle again. War Now, Wayne on the Route at 790 Talk Now in Vegas. Talk that rocks, as well as 98.1 Palm Springs, the whole Coachella Valley, 98.1 FM in Palm Springs, and soon nationally syndicated all over this great country. Right here, our flagship station will remain 790 Talk Now, otherwise known as K-Bet. Great station, great owner. Edward Stolz gave me my start on the radio. It blossomed, it exploded, and look what's happened. Ed, you are a genius, my friend, and a great guy and a class act. Really appreciate everything Ed has done to jumpstart my career. Thank you. All right, Fox News. I was on Saturday talking about my trip to Asia, and we'll talk about that a little later in the show. I was in the Las Vegas RJ on Sunday talking about it as well, but I want to go back to my column from Thursday, and then we'll start taking calls. This past Thursday, Trump's voter fraud investigation should start in Nevada. Air Force flyboard heroes will tell you that the flak gets heaviest when you get close to the target, and that reminds me of what Republicans face when we bring up voter fraud. Democrats freak out. They respond with anger, arrogance, hysteria, or they mock us like we're crazy. Yes, we're crazy, like a fox. Voter fraud is a massive problem in America, but nowhere is it worse than right here in Nevada. We are ground zero for this national scam by liberals to steal elections with the votes of illegal aliens. See, I call them as I see them, like Donald Trump, and I'm the first guy smart enough to identify what voter fraud's about. See, when you say voter fraud, the average Democrat thinks you mean like voting for dead people or voting for people not at the right address, and all that's true. That happens too. Entire elections have been stolen by Lyndon Johnson and John F. Kennedy and many others with voter fraud, even Barack Obama. Come on, Philadelphia, what was it, 33,000-0, Obama over Mitt Romney in 2012 in certain black districts. Oh, yeah, that wasn't fraud. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm identifying specifically the main way elections are stolen, and it is it is registration fraud as much as it's voter fraud. See, once an illegal alien registers illegally, because you have no right to register to vote if you're illegally in the country and you're not a citizen, then they legally vote. You can't call it voter fraud. Okay, I'm calling it voter fraud, but technically it is registration fraud. No one's making that clear. This is about millions of illegal aliens voting, and Democrats make fun of us and say it's not happening, and I'm proving it is happening. I will recommend President Trump starts his voter fraud investigation right here in Nevada. Voter fraud should be the top priority of Donald Trump. On one hand, Democratic leaders scream hysterically, there's no voter fraud, but then they tip their hand to the truth in testimony in the California State Senate. That's right. Only a few days ago, now it's been about 2 weeks, California Senate President Kevin De Leon, a Democrat, of course, testified that, and I quote, half my family's in the country illegally with the possession of falsified Social Security cards and green cards. Falsified Social Security cards and falsified green cards. He went on to say almost everyone in this country illegally has secured false identification, including false driver's licenses, prior to the passage of California's AB 60. See, the Democratic president of the California Senate, Kevin De Leon, just gave the scam away. First of all, virtually every illegal alien is committing fraud with the possession of fake or stolen ID papers. Secondly, they're stealing the Social Security numbers of legal Americans, a serious crime that ruins the credit of those whose identities were stolen. Third, in both California and Nevada, illegal aliens no longer have to use fraudulent driver's licenses. They get them legally. And guess what happens at DMV when they get their license? They get registered to vote. Because secretaries of state all over the United States have testified in front of Congress they have no way of telling the difference between a real driver's license and the kind that's issued to illegal aliens. Fourth, here's the important giveaway of this scam. The most important Democrat in the California State Senate just admitted most illegal aliens are committing serious fraud on a massive scale. So Democratic leaders claim those same admitted frauds would never do something so heinous as registering illegally to vote. Oh, my God, what a terrible crime. It's like murder and rape and carjacking and beating someone to death and kidnapping and registering to vote. I'm sorry, but it's not that big a deal to an illegal to register to vote illegally. Only a lawyer could say with a straight face that we're stealing people's Social Security numbers, we're obtaining fake green cards, but we would never register to vote illegally. Are you kidding me? I haven't laughed this loud since I saw Chris Rock's last HBO special. Of course many illegal aliens are voting. Voting illegally is much easier and much less serious of a crime than fraud or identity theft or stealing taxpayer money by illegally collecting government entitlement checks. It's so easy for an illegal to register to vote. The federal government encourages it. Anyone who now legally goes to DMV to get a driver's license is allowed to register to vote on the spot, no questions asked about legal citizenship. And when they go to any government office, or I should say likewise, when they go to any government office to sign up for food stamps, Obamacare, or hundreds of other government welfare programs, they're also handed voter registration forms, no questions asked about their citizenship. And after they register, illegal aliens can vote legally, right in plain sight. And to top it off, they're allowed to vote in Spanish. This country is so screwed up, it's unbelievable. If you can't speak English, how would you know what the issues are? If you can't speak English, how do you know which candidate to support? Of course, the Democratic Party prints out your instructions in Spanish. That's your voter fraud that no one's talking about. It's illegals being encouraged by the federal and state government to register and get driver's licenses and steal people's IDs and fake their way into America. It's that easy. It's that simple. The federal government enables it. Nevada enables it. We have no voter ID. We have no photo voter ID. We don't match voter rolls with rolls of legal citizens. This isn't complicated. Voter fraud is massive in Nevada and California and across America, and it's happening in broad daylight. It's all about making it easy for illegal aliens to illegally register to vote. And the answer is so simple, and this is what must drive liberals crazy. That I, Wayne Root, have common sense, and I throw it right in their face. There's not a thing they could say or do. Did you know Mexico requires federal biometric voter ID with photo and thumbprint in order to vote in Mexico? That's right. You can't vote in Mexico without matching your photo and your fingerprint. If the rules are good enough for Mexico, why not rich America? Liberals love to point out what a rich nation we are. Yeah, I know. Mexico's a rat hole, and America's the greatest nation in the world. And if a rat hole can have voter photo ID with thumbprint, then we can too. And if it's not racist to ask Mexicans in Mexico for photo ID and a thumbprint, why would it be racist to ask a Mexican in America or any voter in America? The answer is it's not. Take that, liberals. Stick it where the sun don't shine. Institute federal voter ID with photo and thumbprint and allow voting only in English. Problem solved. This should be President Trump's top priority to ensure fair and legal elections free of fraud. And now watch the liberal readers of the RJ lose their minds. Watch them respond with fury, indignation, and hysteria. Proof that I just hit the bullseye. So let me tell you a quick funny story, and then we'll go right to calls. So what did I write in that column? That they're all going to get hysterical and attack me for saying it because I've hit the bullseye. I've hit the truth. It's nothing but illegals voting to win elections for Democrats, and all you have to do to overcome it is institute the same rules as Mexico. So I knew I'd drive them crazy. And guess how many of them sent me vicious letters after this column? None. Because I said, I dare you. I know you're going to do it because I've annoyed you so bad and I've stuck the knife in. Every column I write, 20, 30 liberals send me nasty letters saying F you, screw you, hate you, racist, this, that. And suddenly when I call them on it, I tell them, I'll bet you're going to send me letters because I just hit the bullseye, screw you. None of them sent letters. Now fast forward to Sunday. Sunday I write a column about my 2 weeks in Asia, proving Trump's on track, that overseas they love Trump, the media's lying, and that overseas they think that the Democrats are a bunch of bungling idiots and that they couldn't stand the Democrats' response to the President Trump's State of the Union. That column where I didn't say I dare you to write me a letter and I know you're going to write it, that got 20-plus letters of liberals screaming, ranting, and raving hysterically and telling me what a terrible person, what a liar I am. So it just goes to show you the real bullseye, though, was this illegal immigrant one. That's why none of them sent a letter. I dared them, and they didn't send it because I hit the bullseye on the button. Charlie, I guess you're trying to tell me it's time for an ad break? All right, you want me to be on time? See, Charlie's new. He doesn't realize I'm never on time, but I'll do it for you because it's our first day back together. I'll do it for you. I always go another 5-10 minutes later, but that's okay. We'll do it on time. When we come back, I see the calls are lined up. We'll take calls for the rest of the half hour, and the phone number is 844-WAR-NOW-1. Get through to us at 844-WAR-NOW-1. There's still lines open. Lots of people lined up, but lots more are open. So every one of you can get on the line with me for the next half hour, whether you're in Vegas or Palm Springs. It's one easy number now, 844-WAR-NOW-1, which numerically is 844-927-6691. We shall return. The battle has just begun. All right, Wayne Allyn Root taking calls. My first hour back after 2 weeks on tour in Asia talking about Donald Trump to the Asian business community. Phone number is 844-WAR-NOW-1, 844-WAR-NOW-1 for Wayne Allyn Root, WAR-NOW-1. Toll-free number, numerically, that's 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. And that number is toll-free anywhere in the United States. So everybody gets to call in free now, no matter where you are, whether it's listening on 790 Talk Now in Vegas, whether it's listening at 98.1 in FM in Palm Springs, or whether soon you're listening all over the United States. How about all of you on the internet? I know that we have, I would say, a third of our listeners are online, got a massive online audience all over this country. You can all now call in toll-free, 844-WAR-NOW-1. All right, let's take line one. American Joe's been waiting patiently for a long time. Hey, Joe, you're on with Wayne Allyn Root. How are you?
Wayne, I've been waiting for, 11 or 12 days now to be exact. So glad to have you back.
Thank you.
Love you back. I'm so proud of President Trump, our warrior in the White House, man. He is kicking it. And
he is.
You know, I got to tell you something about these liberals that drive me crazy, man. If you just listen to a liberal talk for a few minutes, they're just going to keep contradicting themselves. They can't help it. It's part of who they are. They'll tell you on one hand that they don't want any federal oversight in immigration laws in our cities and our states. They want to handle it locally. They don't want ICE in there doing anything, right? But as soon as some whack job in a skirt says he's a girl and wants to use a girl's bathroom, now we want the federal government to come in and make the rules. You see, they got to have it both ways. And then they'll tell you that sexuality.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, sir.
They do want it both ways because they want men and women to all go in the same bathroom. So they definitely want it both ways.
How can they say on one hand that you're born gay, it's part of your DNA, you can't change your sexuality, but you can wake up and choose to be a woman? Makes no sense.
Well, it makes even less sense that you could wake up one day and decide to choose your sexuality and ask us to pay for it, the taxpayers, and of course that's what they're asking us to do. It's not just the unisex bathrooms or the third transgender bathroom that you have to build now. According to liberals, thank God with President Donald Trump, you don't have to do that anymore. Schools don't have to waste our money on that. But more importantly, if you go to prison or if you're in the Army now, and they let anyone in the Army, women get in, transsexuals get in, if you decide you want to change your sex, the Army pays for it. So and prisons pay for it. So you're getting $150,000 sex change operation bills as taxpayers. What does everybody listening think of that? What right have they got to change their mind and charge us for it about whether they're a man or a woman? That's even sicker than the idea that they could change their sex and bill us for it. That's even sicker.
Well, I was with my wife last night in Walmart, okay, right down there on Eastern, and there was a dude in line, a big, ugly dude, who was about 6'2". He had a pink hair, and he had a mini skirt and high heels.
Ugh.
And he looked completely ridiculous. And I pointed to my wife and I said, "See that, honey? That's who they want in the bathrooms with our little girls. It's a mental illness, and I don't understand why so many people in America are buying into this crap about civil rights. It's unbelievable that people buy into this crap."
I'm with you. Listen, I'm someone who's always been very, very fair and open, and I hate to use this word, but I'd even say liberal. Maybe you'd use the word libertarian when it comes to gay rights. Because, in other words, if you're a guy and you happen to be gay and you do it in the bedroom, I don't care. Do what you want in the bedroom. Don't bother me. What I don't like is public displays of men making out with men. You don't need to do that. Just be gay in the living room of your own house, in the bedroom of your own house. I don't need to know about it. So I'm totally open. I wouldn't hurt you.
Please tell me you're not in favor of the gay marriage thing, are you?
I just don't care. I guess I'm like Donald Trump. I don't care.
All right, fair enough.
I just don't care.
But I care. It sucks, and I think, marriage should be between one man and one woman. That's
and I get that. Hey, Joe,
Let's
I
keep
get
it that
that.
way.
Joe, I get it, but here's my argument on that one. What does it matter to you and me, really, if two gay people get married? Do I really care? Why does it bother?
I care.
No, it bothers
I care
you.
because here's my answer. If I'm raising children to believe a certain thing, to believe that this is the way God created things, this is what's normal, this is what's natural, but all of society says, oh, no, anybody can get married to anybody. It doesn't matter. We got no rules and regulations on marriage. Then it goes contrary to everything I'm trying to raise my kids to believe.
I get it, but I'll give you the libertarian argument. It shouldn't even be allowed or not allowed by the government. It should only be churches that marry people. It shouldn't be government that gives you a license in the first place. So never give them the license, then it wouldn't occur in the first place, right? That's
with you there. I love that idea.
Right. I don't want government involved. Government shouldn't have to give me a license for me to get married. It's none of their gosh darn business whether I get married in the first place. Why would government license me? Am I a pet? Do I need a license for my pet? Oh, I'm getting married. I'm a pet. I'm a dog now, right? So I don't want government to be involved in license.
As soon as money gets involved, the government wants involved, right?
Yeah, of course. So, all right.
So good seeing you. Great to hear from you. Keep doing what you do. Don't take any more 11-day vacations.
I know.
Because we need you right where you're at.
I appreciate it, Joe. Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
buddy.
American Joe. We got Gary on line, too. Hey, Gary, Wayne Allyn, welcome back to you and welcome back to me. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, wow. Thank God you're back. You're a libertarian at heart and a conservative. Listen, I don't care if gays get married, to answer the last caller, but if I go to a certain church and all of a sudden if I belong to a Catholic church or some church and all of a sudden they're letting gays get married and that's against my beliefs, I got a problem with the church. But I agree with you. The only thing I have a problem with is gays adopting children. I'm not against it, but I don't know where I stand on it. I mean, it kind of freaks me out thinking about how that works. Gay women adopting, a couple of young boys, and I kind of feel sorry for them, maybe because I'm prejudiced or something. That I have a problem with.
Yeah,
anyway,
but listen, I wouldn't worry. Listen, I have a good friend who's my radio agent, okay, represents me in the radio business. He's gay, and he's got 3 adopted children, and he's the greatest father in the world. And I'm telling you, being gay does not preclude you from raising children. There are straight people who do a crappy job of raising children, and there are gay people who might do a good job. On the other, and gays should say thank you, Wayne. But instead, any gay listening is going to say they hate me because I don't want transgender bathrooms. See, I told this to Bill Maher on the set of Real Time on HBO, but it was off TV. It was in his extra segment. Have you ever watched Bill Maher's show where he says now we're going to overtime? You can go to HBO.com.
I watched Bill Maher when he had Gordon G. Liddy with the guru, the LSD guru, and they were all in prison together. And he goes, "You realize all 4 of you panelists were in the big house, from all different, I've been a Bill Maher fan for years. I just don't agree with him politically.
Yeah, well, of course. Is that Timothy Leary? Was that the LSD guy? Timothy Leary?
Yeah, Timothy Leary.
Yeah.
They used to play chess together, and G. Gordon Liddy had, as an FBI agent, arrested him.
That's funny.
And no, it was a great show. I mean, I'm going back.
Well, anyway,
15 years ago.
when I was on with him, he said, now we'll go to overtime, and that's only at HBO.com. And at overtime, he asked me about transgender marriage. And I said, you don't get it. Republicans and conservatives like me, I happen to be very open-minded about the gay thing and let them do what they want to do as long as they're not in my face, shoving it in my face. But as far as transgenders, now you've gone too far. And you don't understand. You're turning people off, and you've gone too far with transgender bathrooms. And Bill Maher, actually, to his credit, the crowd was like hissing and booing me. And Bill Maher said, Wayne's probably right on that one. And we as Democrats make a big mistake going way too radical. So to his credit, he got it. He understood this. He got it.
You're one of the rare people. You're one of the very few people that probably could do that. But we need a new All in the Family show, a modern one, to bring up all this stuff, all the family, all over again.
Well, I'd be the perfect Archie Bunker. So if any producers are out there, casting for
All
the new
right.
All in the Family. Wayne Root is Archie Bunker with hair on my head. You know.
I'm so glad you're back. I forgot how much I missed you until I hear how I think a little vacation did you good. You sound really good.
Well,
So
my
I'll
voice
let
is
other
certainly
people-
back, that's for sure. So, hey, Gary,
you
thanks
are.
for calling in. While I was gone,
Well-
Gary sent me emails. He's a great guy. While I was in Asia, I'm reading emails from my fan and listener, Gary. It always made me feel good. Thank you, Gary. Really appreciate it. Headed to an ad break. By the way, my email address, because I love when my listeners email me, is wayneroot@gmail.com. wayneroot@gmail.com. When we get back, more of your calls. 844-WAR, now 1. All right, Wayne Allyn Root back in the saddle again. WAR in the saddle, 790 Talk Now and 98.1 FM Palm Springs. 790 Talk Now, of course, in Las Vegas, the greatest city in the world, my city, your city, our hometown. And we've got on line 3, we've got Robert, who wants to talk about voting and vote gathering. Robert, you're on with WAR. How are you?
First, I want to say, God bless you, Captain America. You're the man.
Hey, thanks,
You're too
Robert.
busy to be You're too busy to be president, but you could be a damn good president. I want to share with you something, sir. Get right to the heart of the matter
Go
here.
for it.
Our major problem is, I'm not scared to talk to anybody. I don't care. In our country, what happened was the vote-gathering companies, Mi Familia Vota and others, they're totally criminal. They're paid for by the globalists, and what they do is they go around and gather all the Mexican votes, and they put them in nice little bundles, and they wrap it up nice and neat, and they go into the Secretary of State's office, and they say, here, we have 10,000. They go, okay, put them over there. But the Secretary of State's office never opens the envelopes to verify that it's all correct and true, and they're all Spanish names, and they're not residents of the state. So the fraud is right there, right now.
Right.
You ask the Secretary of State, we called them 173 times, and they never responded. I'm just a retired person. So what we want is outlaw vote-gathering companies. If you can't take your ass to the mailbox or down to the polls, then you can't vote. You can't have a corporation funded by globalists getting all these Latino names and bundling them up and saying, okay, here's all our votes. It's a lie. So the other thing is non-residents. They don't even live here, names counted. So the fraud game is not over. Mastro and all these crooks that got in there, it's not over. The evidence is there, and we want the Secretary of State to open the bundles that Mi Familia Vota handed in, and let's subtract the non-residents, and they lose. It's complete fraud, and vote-gathering companies need to be outlawed.
All right, so Robert, hold on. I want to ask
Yes,
you a question about this. I want to understand all this.
Go ahead.
All right, so me familiar voter, and I believe you. I think you got something here. So they're
Familia Vota.
Vota.
Yes,
They're registering people, and then they send them. They hand them. They drive to the Secretary of State or registration office, and they hand them in bundles of 10,000. Nobody, and now these are registered to vote with absentee, or how are they registered to vote exactly?
They never check. There's a piece of paper that you fill it out. I could do it. Jose Martinez live on Vine Street, 6795285. Good. And you close the envelope. Next. And they stack them up. They even sit around in churches and they fill out all the applications. And they just hand in piles and piles of bundles of mail-in ballots. But they never, no one ever opens the bundle and says, well, let me see.
All right, so no, but what I'm trying to figure out is if nobody opens the bundle, then how is the person registered? They must have to open it to then enter it into the computer and say they're registered.
Okay, here it is. The Secretary of State trusts this corporation. They got a little buddy system going on. The gophers that the people that were delivering the bundles told us flat out. I'm not going to say the guy, the little Mexican guy got paid temp wages. He says, how many you got? 3,000. Put it over there. They don't open it to check anything. If you open the bundles, you'll see the name. But the point is, we want to subtract the non-resident names because even on their own website, there was only 65,000 registered Latinos in Clark County. And so the fraud is right there. The criminal evidence of fraud is in the bundles. And the Secretary of State, I tell her, you listening, ma'am? You're a criminal. You know what's going on, okay? You allowed Mi Familia Vota to hand in thousands of fraudulent mail-in ballots without verifying it. You're a failure. Your job is to verify.
And Robert,
that's how they,
don't forget, as I said in my commentary or my column in the RJ, all they have to do anyway, separate from that, is a person who's illegal goes to get his driver's license at the DMV, which we now allow you to do. And while they're there, they ask them if they want to vote, and they hand them a voter registration form. It's that easy.
Sir, but right now it's about citizen, non-citizen. We ain't talking about that. Let's just cut through the chase. We know in this state law jurisdiction right now today on the books it says if you're a non-resident, you can't vote. So let's just cut through the chase. Forget it, legal, not legal. Right now, the criminal evidence is being stored by the Secretary of State. Right now. If I had an FBI agent with me and authorization, we would walk in and say, pile all the Mi Familia Vota paper in a big pile, and we're going to pay some people to go through it, and we're going to separate the non-residents from the actual residents and the double votes, and that's the score.
Got it.
And she knows it. Okay, that's where the fraud is at.
And she's a Republican. I mean,
it doesn't matter. Listen, I'm retired. I grew up. I'll just flat out tell you. I grew up with a family that was FBI. Okay, this is what happened in America. We had at least 7 Secretary of States that are criminals. They don't make much. I'll flat out tell you. I don't know if she took the bribe. We haven't looked into that. But the point is, they pay off Alex Padilla of California a huge amount of money. He allows everything to happen. He turns his back. He acts stupid. They lose. It's pure criminal payola. But anyway, in this state, to fix Nevada, we want them to stack up all the mail-in ballots that Mi Familia Vota, the criminal voter company, handed in to the Secretary of State, and we want to sift it out. When it's against the law for a company for one race only, it's all Latinos. There's no Americans in their pile of ballots. Mi Familia Vota, look at the states. California, they tried to take Florida. Mi Familia Vota is totally funded by Soros. It's a complete criminal enterprise. I'm not going to say who, but a buddy of mine voted as Jose Martinez 65 times. Nobody even checked. You just fill out the application and your vote counts. So anyway, criminal investigation. Go to the Secretary of State's office and say, listen, where are the Mi Familia Vota ballots right now? Where are they at?
So are these are absentee ballots, correct? They're actually voting on the ballot, correct?
Their names on a piece of paper, and they count them. And they're all pieces of paper with non-resident names. Also, the secretary. Also, there's double voting. One little guy, he's a good guy. He's trying to be an American. He said he votes in North Las Vegas and in regular Vegas every year twice, and nobody cares.
Amazing.
Because they tell him to. La Raza, he's a La Raza guy.
And Robert, you have a buddy who voted 60-plus times, and nobody cared, nobody checked.
Not a buddy, an acquaintance of somebody, and they for Latino names, they just kept that 65 times. They send it in online. You can even vote in California from any place in the world. You can say your name's Jose Martinez, and you can vote online, and it checks, and you'll register. So the point is, in this state, we're talking about this state, they robbed us, and you want criminal evidence of fraud. You want the Secretary of State. Hello, ma'am. You never answered any citizen's calls. We want you to give us all the Mi Familia Vota paperwork and the mail-in ballots, stack it up in a pile, and we're going to separate the non-residents, people that don't even live here. We ain't talking about legal or illegal. Let's forget that. We're talking people that actually live in Vegas and have an address.
All right, I'm with you. Robert, I'm with you.
Subtract non-residents from residents,
Robert,
and
we got to go, buddy. We're taking an ad break. Thank you for the call. And I'm going to ask my booker. You've inspired me. Andrew books all my guests. And I want to get Barbara Savasky, who's the Secretary of State, on the show to ask her about this. I want to hear what she says. I want to hear it.
Sir, one last question. The
Quickly.
last comment. National welfare ID, too, because one woman had 62 cases running all over America. She walks in and says, my name's Maria Gonzalez. She gets her check and sends it to Mexico. The INN numbers, a lot of people have 5 of them. If you're Latino, you can walk in and say, I got no ID.
All right, Robert. We got to go. We got to run. Robert, thank you for the call. He always brings a wealth of knowledge. Wayne Allyn Root, we're headed to a news break. We've actually got the national news from Fox coming up next. When we come back after that, it is my Root Rant. The welcome back Root Rant. I'm going to hit hard. Wait till you hear it. War now. Wait till you hear it. War now. Wait till you. All right, Wayne Allyn Root back. If you weren't listening to the 3 o'clock hour, I am back in the saddle again. at War Now, 790 Talk Now in Vegas, 98.1 FM in Palm Springs, soon to be nationally syndicated all over this great country. Same phone number works everywhere in the land now, 844-WAR-NOW-1, toll free, everywhere in the country. You don't pay a dime to call in, 844-WAR-NOW-1, which numerically is 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. So what is in the news? Well, lots of great things in the news. Trump has signed a revised travel ban, and the only difference is it doesn't affect visas and it doesn't affect Iraq. It exempts Iraqi citizens because Iraq was so scared by what Trump did that they were scared straight. Remember that TV series, Scared Straight? You know, you scare kids so bad they stop taking drugs, and you keep them out of trouble. You keep them out of harm's way. You got to scare them to death. You got to clank the jail room door, the prison door, and they get so scared they get scared straight. And that's what Trump did. He scared Iraq to the point where they created a system where you can vet people properly, and we know who's coming in the country. So therefore, they're not banned anymore. And I agree with Trump. If you could show me that people shouldn't be banned, then they're not banned. So we'll go over the travel ban soon. I'll tell you exactly what's in it. There's a slush fund for left-wing activists that Obama put together that has given billions of dollars to liberal organizations that are out to destroy America. We'll talk about that. We've got Micah Brzezinski on MSNBC, who's on Morning Joe. She's partners on Morning Joe with the Republican ex-congressman whose name escapes me for the moment. But in any case, Micah goes on TV and says tearfully, if people out there feel nervous, we do too. You've got to do something. Trump's ruining America. Oh, my God. The accusations of Obama bugging the White House. He's a criminal. He's terrible. He's awful. She never cried once when I announced to the world that the IRS had been sicked on me and was trying to destroy my life for being a conservative activist. I didn't hear a single liberal like Micah say a word. Obama sicks the IRS on you and tries to destroy an individual citizen for the sin of free speech, saying, I disagree with Obama. And they try and destroy your life and bankrupt you. And liberals don't care. And the liberal media never cared. And I'm writing that column for the RJ. It was the Las Vegas office of the IRS that not once but twice tried to ruin my life and destroy me and bankrupt me. And I was represented by the best tax lawyer in America, Sam Landis of Siegel, Cohen and Landis, out of Beverly Hills. And he beat them both times, and I didn't owe a dime, and a judge ruled that it was the most ridiculous thing she'd ever seen, and I don't owe one penny, and reinstated every deduction they tried to eliminate because they were trying to ruin my life because they're a bunch of liberal commies in the IRS office of Las Vegas who were taking direction from Harry Reid and Barack Obama. And so what did the liberal media do about it? Nothing. Did they report it? No. Not a word while I was being harassed and intimidated and persecuted for my political views. Where was Micah Brzezinski on MSNBC? Everyone knows that an IRS agent wouldn't choose to do that on their own because they could go to prison or they could lose their pension or both. Nobody would choose to be dumb enough to do that. Even I don't think IRS agents are that stupid or that risk-taking that they would ever choose to do that on their own. They were given orders by higher-ups, and those higher-ups don't want to lose their jobs or their pensions or go to prison. They have wives or husbands and children. They don't want to go to prison. They're breaking the law by doing what they did to me. So the higher-ups were ordered, and it was probably Obama himself, or it was Valerie Jarrett, or it was Harry Reid, or it was Obama in concert with Valerie Jarrett and Harry Reid, and the liberals said nothing. They didn't care, as thousands of conservatives who ran Tea Party groups or who were activists like me or in the media like me or were critics of the president like me were persecuted. All of a sudden now, Donald Trump is making things up about being persecuted. Really? Like I made things up about being persecuted? Really? So liberals listening right now, when they read my column on Thursday, their eyes are going to pop out of their heads. They're all going to say, oh, Wayne made it up the way Donald Trump made it up. Really? Well, Judicial Watch, The same one that's now agreed to take over Donald Trump's case and is now subpoenaing all the records of all these FISA orders to show us, prove us that Obama ordered wiretapping on Donald Trump. And it won't be his name on it. It'll be the FBI. It'll be the DOJ. But nothing happens under a president unless he orders it. We all know that. When Nixon went after people with the IRS, did we say, oh, it must have been without Nixon's knowledge? Or did all the liberals say Nixon ordered it? So Obama ordered it, my IRS attacks, and he also ordered, without any question, the wiretapping on Donald Trump. You mean the FBI and the DOJ would wiretap a presidential candidate and the sitting president wouldn't know about it? He didn't order it and he didn't have knowledge of it? You're joking. So they'll say, but Obama didn't order Wayne's case, and it wasn't political persecution. Wayne just did something wrong, and that's why the IRS came after him. Really? So Judicial Watch took my case. They said from the beginning it looks like a classic case of government persecution and intimidation based on politics. And we subpoenaed, we demanded my IRS records, my files. And it was 30 days, according to the United States government law. 30 days the government had to hand it over. And the IRS obstructed justice for 14 months. Well over a year, almost a year and a half, they obstructed justice and denied my IRS files. What were they hiding? Why were they stalling? And then when they finally handed them over, God knows how many they destroyed, how many criminal acts they committed, but they couldn't destroy all of them fast enough because obviously after 14 months, they finally felt the heat because we threatened to issue a subpoena. And finally, they handed them over, and in it, we found a treasure trove of proof that this was a political persecution against Wayne Allyn Root that was obviously orchestrated by the Democratic Party and the leadership, going all the way up to Barack Obama. And I have proof of all of it, and Judicial Watch has proof of all of it. And what did Micah say about it? At MSNBC, nothing. Didn't choose to cover it. What does anyone in the media say about it? Nothing. The Blaze covered it. Fox News covered it. And Breitbart covered it. And guess what? Nobody else did. Outside of conservative media, nobody chose to cover it because the mainstream media is blind, deaf, and dumb and had no interest in covering anything that would ever suggest that Barack Obama did something wrong or persecuted people or broke the law and should go to prison. Like Nixon. Obama was just like Nixon, except far worse. But the media didn't care. So, Micah, shove it up your you-know-what. Because you're a liar and a fraud and a cover-up artist is what you are. You don't give a damn when anyone but Trump does something that you think is wrong. But Trump, you want to trump up the charges and accuse him of things. Well, guess what? Donald Trump is brilliant. And he beat out 16 of the greatest Republican candidates in history to win the nomination. And then he beat out your beloved Hillary Clinton, that's supposed to be such a genius. And Trump outsmarted her with a strategy that cared only about the battleground states and didn't worry about the popular vote or the millions of people that voted against him in California. They didn't matter. Donald Trump's a genius and a brilliant strategist, a chess player, while you're all playing checkers. And guess what he told my buddy over the weekend? Would I ever say, ever, that my Trump Tower was tapped, was being spied on, if I don't have the absolute proof? He said, I got the absolute proof. It's all going to come out. Absolute proof. And Micah, all of you are going to look like idiots because, of course, Obama ordered it, but I don't know if that will be in the proof. But, of course, tapping went on. Donald Trump, a candidate for president of the United States, running against the party in power in the White House, was eavesdropped on. His phone calls while he was running for president were tapped. Ostensibly, they will tell you for the argument that they were checking to see if he was fixing the election with the Russians. How do you know that they didn't use that as a cover to simply find out all of Trump's strategy and try and counter it and win the election? That is voter fraud by Obama and the Democratic Party. Hillary was in on it too. Guarantee you, it all went on. And Obama's not dumb enough to put his fingerprints on it. But of course, the sitting president is the one who whispered in Valerie Jarrett's ear, who whispered in the ear of the FBI and the DOJ. Don't make me laugh. I may have been born yesterday, but I wasn't born in the last 5 minutes. I'm Wayne Allyn Root. War Now is the name of the show. We're becoming a nationally syndicated show. We'll be competing with the Rushes and the Savages and the Hannitys of the world in the next month. And right now, we're taking a quick break for our wonderful sponsors that make this show possible. And when we get back, we'll have Stavros Anthony, a patriot, a hero, a gentleman, and a great Republican councilman here in Vegas running for re-election. And we'll talk to him about why he deserves re-election, and he does. And I'll be supporting him. Wayne Allyn Root, WAR Now. All right, Wayne Allyn Root back again, back in the saddle. Been gone 2 weeks. I get back and I get to see one of my favorite politicians. Usually politicians are a bad word, but there's a few good guys out there. And Stavros Anthony, I believe, is one of the good guys. I've always liked him because I like cops and I like Republicans. That's a good combination. And he's a former cop in Las Vegas. I think an officer. What was your final rank?
My last 10 years, I was a captain. With
Captain.
Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department.
I like cops, and so got to like a captain. And he's a good guy, and he's out to help the citizens. And he represents Ward 4, which is pretty much a kind of a middle-class and working-class district, right?
Yeah, it's your typical middle-class families, just people that own a home and raising their kids and their dogs. It's primarily Sun City, Summerlin, Painted Desert, Desert Shores, master plan communities, and it's small businesses and people that just want a great place to live.
Now, I know there's been a little bit of a crime epidemic. There's some denials out there. It really is an epidemic. But I know where I live in Henderson and also where some of my friends live in Summerlin, they're saying there's been a lot of burglaries. And people can, statistics could tell you nothing has changed, but they swear that there is a major uptick in crime going on. What's your hearing, ears to the ground on that?
Talking to folks and people that are reaching out to me, the people that live up in the Northwest believe there's an increase in property crimes. And there probably is. And to tell you the truth, a lot of it is we're down about 500 police officers when we used to be during the recession. We're about 1.75 officers per thousand today, where we should be at 2. And, Wayne, the less cops you have out on the street in your uniform pushing a police car around, the more crime you're going to have. And I know the Metro right now has a big push to put together back-to-back academies for probably the next 2 years to get us back up to 2 per thousand.
Yeah, they should.
2 per thousand, and that's going to make a big difference. But right now there just aren't enough cops on the street, and it's fairly easy to commit a property crime. And if you're not home during the day, somebody breaks in, and they don't steal a lot, but you feel violated when your house gets broken into.
Oh, it's a terrible
like that.
thing.
It's just an absolutely terrible thing.
When they passed the stadium deal, I believe they also passed at the same time a sales tax increase to put more cops on the street, correct? So they do have the money to do that, correct?
Yes, the county commission finally passed a sales tax increase for more cops. So that's why you're going to start seeing more and more police academies. So if you want to be a police officer in Las Vegas, this is the best time to apply. But you probably know, Wayne, it takes 2 years to take somebody from the first day they apply to actually full-fledged police officers. Take 2 years to get them running out on the streets. So you're looking at a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's going to take a couple of years to get through that. And in the meantime, just take precautions to protect yourself.
But see, I'm a very creative guy. So what I would look, an awful lot of cops, as all government employees, retire pretty young. Why not offer a bonus to come back for a couple of years? Why not do something like that?
Actually, there are states that do have that.
I'm sure.
You retire. That's big in Florida. You retire, you put your pension on hold, it's banked, and then you continue to work. And if the state legislature should really take a look at doing something like that.
You need approval to do that? You can't just say we're going to offer a sign-on bonus to come back for a couple of years while we have a shortage, something like that. You need the legislature to approve?
Correct. Every place I've seen that, it's state law that allows you to do that.
Yeah, except now we got this lousy legislature. It's all Democrat-dominated. They don't care about cops. I'm telling you, it's really a ridiculous thing. When you see the things Democrats say, you can't tell me they're nice people. They're not. They're not. Guys like me are very anti-tax, except when it comes to cops. And all of them are very pro-tax, except when it comes to cops. We're so opposite, you might as well be living in Mars and Venus. I mean, it's a different world. Democrat mentality. I was mentioning to Stavros off mic in the room during the news break that I just got back from a 2-week trip to Asia, and the Muslims that were in my audience, I got a chance to speak to them, and I wrote the column about it in Sunday's RJ. They can't believe that in America we let illegals come across the border. They can't believe anyone would object to a wall. It's your country. Why can't you decide who comes in? They can't believe once you're in illegally, you get welfare and food stamps, free education, and free health care. They can't believe anyone would have a problem with deporting you once you're here illegally. Muslims just want the chance to come here legally. They don't want to sneak in illegally. So I actually felt myself being very pro-Muslim on this trip because, the good ones want to come here because America is the greatest nation in the world, in the history of the world. And they just want to come to a great nation. And they want to earn. And if you want to come here and if we could pass a ban on welfare for those who come in new, I'd be all for it. But if you want to come here for welfare, I'm not all for it, So anyway, look, back to more important issues, which is your reelection. You've been in office 2 terms, 8 years?
Yes, I've been elected twice. The first time I ran against 5 other people, and I won by 10 votes.
Wow.
So every vote absolutely counts.
And the second time?
The second time, I got 78% of the vote.
Wow.
So
Great.
I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
You must be doing a really good job.
So, and now I'm running for my third.
You get a high five.
Okay, good.
Get a high five.
There you
Good
go.
job.
That was an actual high five.
Good job.
If you didn't see it.
That was a good job. So, all right. So, ex-cop, now city councilman. Before we get into all the other stuff, any future political plans to move up above?
Well, right now my future plan is to get reelected to the Las Vegas City Council.
I know.
Once I do that, then we'll see what happens.
All right.
It's all timing and opportunity. So
you were running for mayor against Carolyn Goodman. Is that not correct? My memory says
that's correct. I did. I decided to run for mayor against Carolyn Goodman. I ended up losing. One of the reasons I ran is because it was really the only real opportunity I had to run for mayor. The Supreme Court has said that a mayor and a city council person are the same position when it comes to term limits.
I see.
So it was the only opportunity I had to really lead this great city, and it didn't happen. And now I'm ready to continue serving the residents in Ward 4, and I'm only 60 years old, so we'll see what the future holds.
You ran against the toughest name in the history of Nevada. I mean, Goodman is the toughest name to run against ever. For better or worse, people love Oscar. And as much as I dislike most Democrats, 98%, there's a few exceptions. And I happen to love Oscar. I happen to think he's a great guy. And him and Carolyn are reasonable when it comes to fiscal issues. I think they're reasonably conservative. I think Oscar's on record as saying when he got here to Nevada or to Las Vegas, he said whoever was in power is who he decided to register. So he registered as a Democrat, but he could have just easily registered as a Republican. Oscar's kind of a moderate Republican, I think. He's not a bad guy at all. I like Oscar and I like Carolyn.
And we're still friends. Carolyn
Good.
Goodman and Oscar Goodman and I are still friends, and all that stuff's behind us.
You should be. They're good people. So tell me about your reelection campaign. First of all, how's it going? Very obvious question.
It's going great. I'm getting a lot of support. I'm raising money to pay for bills.
You won 78% in the last election. Is there any reason to believe you're not going to win big this time? I mean, never get overconfident, but...
Correct.
But...
we're going to make sure we have a full court press to make sure I win this, because I want to serve the residents of Ward 4. So we're not taking any chances. We're running a full-blown campaign and making sure the word gets out. And the people I talk to say I'm doing a great job, and they're going to vote for me. So we'll see what happens April 4th. If I get 50% on April 4th against my opponents, then we're done, and I will continue serving then.
All right. Well, Wayne Root says, I endorse Stavros, and I want him to get well over 50%. Tell us about your favorite accomplishments while in office. Stopping the soccer stadium was a big one, right?
We can talk about that one, but I'll tell you, Wayne, my biggest accomplishment was Sun City Summerlin, which is a very big community. It's about 12,000 residents, 8,000 homes, and there's only a couple of ways to get in and out of there, and they didn't have their own fire station, which was a big deal, and not so much for fires, but for
heart attacks and medical episodes for seniors. Yeah.
So in 2009, during the recession, when our finances were pretty tough, I was able to pull the money together to build Fire Station 107 in Sun City, Summerlin, and I tell you, that has saved lives, and that's really my biggest accomplishment, because now we have firefighters that are responding to a senior that has fallen down or had a heart attack within a couple of minutes, instead of 5 or 6 minutes. And so to sit back and think that, I did something that actually saved a lot of seniors' lives, I'm really proud of that. And it was done when we didn't have the money to do it, but I was able to pull public safety money together, and I'm really proud of that.
Look at this guy. He gets to play hero his whole life. He gets to be a cop and then a captain, and now he's saving lives as councilman. Come on, Stavros. You're making the rest of us look bad.
I love this job.
Talk about the soccer stadium. How does it compare? I was very against the soccer stadium, and I really appreciated you and Bob Beers playing hero again. You and the hero. You're getting me annoyed here. Playing hero and stopping the stadium. Thank you. But my life is pro football, right? I love Republican politics and NFL football and eating steak, right? I mean, I'm a Republican, right? And so I can't think of how wonderful it is that we could get the Raiders. So I was for the stadium. But I believe the taxpayers got a really crappy deal. First of all, $750 million is the most money ever asked for of taxpayers in the history of NFL stadiums, history of any stadium. So Vegas not even that big a town. To think New York and L.A. never asked for that kind of money from their taxpayers. So I think the deal was a crappy deal. However, what led me to lean slightly to it, and there's no more conservative guy in the state than Chuck Muth. He's even more conservative than me. And Chuck Muth leaned towards it too because he said it's the tourists getting hit, not us. So, okay, it's a hotel tax. It's not my property taxes. Maybe I lean to it a little bit. But how does it compare to the soccer stadium? Let's take that when we get back. We're going to an ad break. Two things we get back. The NFL stadium compared to soccer and the property tax, taking the cap off. That one annoys me more than anything in the world. We got to stop that. And I want to hear where you think that's headed. So we're on with Stavros Anthony, Las Vegas City Councilman, Ward 4. Great guy. One of my favorite politicians in this state. I very rarely do an interview and say I endorse, but I endorse. Wayne Root says go out there and vote and walk precincts and help and donate and do whatever you can for Stavros Anthony because he's one of the really, really good guys. Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. All right, Wayne Allyn back again. This is a national-oriented show. I do national politics. I talk Trump 24 hours a day, Obama, Hillary Clinton. The show is about to be nationally syndicated all over this country, starting in the month of April. So literally a month from now, where you're going to hear us all over this country. I rarely do local politics, but once in a while, for people I really like, Stavros Anthony qualifies as one of them. Oscar Goodman's a good friend of mine. Bob Beers is a great guy. For a few select people, I do a little local politics. And Stavros Anthony is one of my favorite guys, not just politicians, favorite people. He's a good guy. And so, cop and a conservative Republican in a town that is not a conservative Republican town and managed to be elected and reelected and now going for his third time. And you're a good man. And so we appreciate having you here.
Thank you.
So tell us some of the key issues you're going to be looking to accomplish in the next 4 years as you start serving your third term.
Well, Wayne, the three things I primarily deal with, I've dealt with the last 8 years, and I want to continue to deal with is, first of all, fiscal responsibility. I want to make sure that we're not spending our tax dollars from the residents of Las Vegas on stupid stuff.
Right.
So I pay a lot of attention to that. Number two is downtown redevelopment. That's something that's really important. I'm from Detroit, and Detroit is just a terrible city because nobody cared about it. You had really Democrats over the last 40 years that siphoned off their money for personal gain.
By the way, Democrat mayors since the year after I was born. So I was born in 61, so it's been Democrat mayors for 54 years since 1962. How come no one blames Democrat policies for creating Detroit?
I don't know. The two mayors went to prison in Detroit. So that's something that I really want to focus on. The entire city council is making sure our downtown is a great place to live and work and play. And then really my number one priority is my ward. I want to make sure that when people live in my ward and have a business in my ward, that they're proud of it, that they feel safe, that they have great parks to take their kids to. And really, Wayne, it's kind of like being a cop, the broken windows theory. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I know it, yeah.
You break a window in a neighborhood and nobody fixes it, then they'll break more windows, and then it's downhill from there.
Well, the guy who proved that works is Rudy Giuliani, who when I was in New York, and I'm a New York born and bred kid, and it was the scariest thing and the most unpleasant thing. It wasn't always scary. Sometimes it's scary, but it was always uncomfortable and unpleasant, was when you stopped at a red light and a rough-looking homeless bum starts cleaning your windshield, making it 4 times dirtier than it was with a dirty rag before he started cleaning your windshield. And you go, stop, I don't want that. And he goes, I don't care. And he keeps doing it, and then he puts his hand out. He wants money. And you feel like if you don't give him money, he's going to smash your window. So everybody would give them money, and everyone felt intimidated. Rudy Giuliani came along and said, Broken windows theory. I don't want this going on. I don't want you spitting on the sidewalks, by the way. I'm going to fine you for everything. And he cleaned them out, and pretty soon there were no more guys doing the squeegees on your windows. And everybody really commented how much they like Rudy because the squeegee guys were gone. It was such a minor thing,
right,
yet it was so major. And I just come back from Singapore where you get caned for spitting on the sidewalk or putting gum on furniture. They'll cane you. You know what the result is? It's the cleanest city I've ever seen in my entire life.
Right.
The broken windows theory works.
It
Little things add up.
Yep. And that's really what I focus on because, I mean, that's what you do as a police officer. And that's what I focus on is somebody calls up and says there's
You cane people?
No.
Just kidding. Just
talk
kidding.
about that in the future.
Just kidding.
But that's really, I tell people I probably have more of an impact on their neighborhood and their lives than the President of the United States.
No question.
Really, that's true. So,
well, what's ruined America isn't Democratic presidents, it's Democratic city councilmen. That's what, and judges. Democrat liberal judges have ruined America. That's the problem. And bureaucrats. So it's really at the local level.
Right.
So electing Trump was great, but the reality is you got to bring in thousands of mini Trumps on the local level. That's what you need. So is it okay to call you a mini Trump, Stavros?
Sure, absolutely.
Our mini Trump?
Donald Trump, absolutely.
Good man. Tell me about the soccer stadium that you killed versus the NFL stadium. Better, worse, same?
That's a great question. So first of all, like you mentioned, this is between Major League Football and Major League Soccer. Major League Football is a real deal. Everybody loves that. Major League Soccer is always still it's an experiment. So we didn't even know if it was going to work in Las Vegas.
Let's put it this way. It's possible. I don't know if you'd say it's automatic. There's no guarantees in life. But it's possible having the Raiders as the Las Vegas Raiders
Correct.
make us a bigger league town and brings up our property values and makes more people want to work here and go to school here. It is not possible that having a soccer team makes people move to Las Vegas. I can tell you
correct.
that.
That's correct.
Right.
So now you talk about the actual taxpayer-funded portion of it. For Major League Soccer, it was a $200 million stadium. Half of it was going to be paid by the taxpayer. And this is kind of the kicker, is the $100 million, 40 of it was going to come from capital improvements that we could use for the rest of the city, like street lights, sidewalks. The other $60 million was going to come from a fund that we would use to build parks in neighborhoods. That's different from the NFL stadium where it's a tax on tourists.
Right.
So that's the difference. The soccer stadium was going to actually impact
real taxpayers, Las Vegas taxpayers.
They weren't going to get parks in their neighborhood.
Right.
And one of the parks that I want to build in my ward, the Cliff Shadows Park, was not going to be built, just like 15 other parks weren't going to be built.
Got it.
And Bob Beers and that actually passed 4-3 that we were going to build a stadium, but I'll have to give credit to Bob Beers and I. We did a full court press on it, and we ended up stopping it. And today, we're spending $60 million on parks all over the city of Las Vegas, including one in my ward where people can take their kids and their dogs and actually enjoy something. You can't take your kids and your dogs to a soccer stadium.
Certainly not every day. Not every day.
Exactly. So.
And it's just, look, it's a fact. I'm 55 years old. I hate to admit that. I can't even believe it sometimes. I wake up and go, how's that possible? But I've been on this earth 55 years, and for the entire 55 years, I've heard, soccer's coming up. It's going to be the big sport. And it never is. Right. So they can spend all day long and sit on their hands and turn blue. Soccer is not America's sport. Football is America's sport. Exactly. So getting an NFL team is huge.
Right.
And billing it to the tourists is better than billing it to us. But so, okay, I might lean to saying yes, but the question is, in the long run, is it a smart move, A, and B, will it pay for itself? And B, in the long run, did taxpayers get screwed with the deal? Could it have been a better deal? And I believe it could have been a much better deal. They stiffed the taxpayers for $750 million and offered in return 0% of any profits that come in. Zero. To me, that's a really bad deal, like by huge margins. So, could have been better negotiated.
Yeah, I mean, that's the difference. I mean, soccer in Las Vegas is actually very popular with the kids.
With the kids, but nobody goes to soccer games.
Right, but when it comes to tourists coming here and people spending money on major league sports, there's a big difference between football and soccer.
Nobody's coming here to watch a soccer game, but I believe, I've argued this for the whole 15 years I've lived here, that if you put Monday Night Football exclusively all 16 weeks in Las Vegas, you'd have stadiums filled with people from each team that plays. They plan their vacations around Monday Night Football. Now, that may not be happening, but whoever's playing the Raiders, the Vegas Raiders, the entire New York will come out that weekend. The whole Baltimore, Philly will come out that weekend, especially if it's a cold weekend. NFL will bring everyone to Las Vegas. Soccer wasn't bringing anyone to Las Vegas. So a very different deal.
Yeah, I agree with you totally.
All right, cool. Anthony, I was going to let you say goodbye and just take calls in the last segment. But what I'll say is for the last segment, I want to keep you just for one question, the property tax cap. I know everybody wants to hear about that. I do. So I can't let you go till we hear one more, okay? So stick around, and then we'll take some calls. If any of you want to call in and speak to Stavros Anthony, the call-in number is 844-WAR Now 1. Toll free everywhere in the United States now. If you're listening online, in Vegas, Palm Springs, anywhere, toll free 844-WAR Now 1, which is 844-927-6691. We'll be right back. More with City Councilman Stavros Anthony heading for his third term in office, another re-election for a great shining Republican star. We'll be right back. All right, Las Vegas has been getting satisfaction from your number one afternoon drive time show, WAR Now, Wayne Root, and has been getting satisfaction in the city of Las Vegas in Ward 4 from Stavros Anthony. Great guy and a former captain, the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, LVMPD, and a great councilman who did such a good job. You went from winning by, 10 votes?
Won by, I tell people it was a double-digit win. It was
10 votes.
10 votes.
10 votes to winning 78% of the vote last time.
Right.
All right, so we're not going to rest till it's 79% this time. And you're going to owe me for that 1%. I'm telling you right now. You're owing Wayne Root. All right, so the raising of the cap on the property tax, I find that so ridiculous and outrageous and wrong when people are struggling so badly from the last 8 years of the Obama economy. Democrats are delusional. They want to believe everything's fine. It's not fine. People are just barely hanging on to their houses by their fingertips. And I'm telling you, it's not just at a middle-class level or at a working-class level. I would say anyone who knew me would call Wayne Root rich, and I live in a very nice house at Anthem Country Club. And yet, I'm barely hanging on to that house. So people are struggling at a high level. They're struggling at a low level. They're struggling at a medium level. Everyone has different, levels in life. But you could still be struggling to make the payments because income taxes are too high, property taxes are too high, sales taxes are too high. How about this one? Are your Obamacare health insurance way too high? My kid my kid just got out of college now. She's in grad school. Another one's going to college next year. There's no money for all this. Money doesn't grow on trees. I wish I could explain that to Democrats. I know Stavros Anthony understands that. Democrats have no concept that money doesn't grow on trees. There's no money for average people in your district to pay a property tax increase now. There's none. Your answer to that.
Well, you're absolutely right, Wayne. This is up in the state legislature right now, and they're taking a look at it's not so much the caps, but the formula that allows for tax increases over a number of periods. They want to get rid of that formula, which in essence would raise your property taxes. And I just don't think that's right, especially today. I mean, people are still upside down on their homes. They're struggling. They're trying to pay buy food and pay their bills, and to raise their property taxes is just not the right thing to do. And, the city of Las Vegas, we have to live in our means just like everybody else. And I would ask all your callers to call your assembly person and your state senator and let them know how you feel, because they're right in the middle of this discussion. And I have a feeling they're going to take a shot at actually changing the formula to allow your property taxes to go up, and it's just not right for our residents.
No, it's not right. My second thing, it's not right, that's my biggest bugaboo, is the car registration tax, which I think is outrageous. I think it's the highest in the nation. There's no way anywhere else in the nation pays more than 2% of the value of your car. And you go to a Utah, neighboring states like Utah. I don't know about Arizona. I haven't checked, but I'm assuming Arizona. But I know for a fact Utah and many other states nearby, Oregon, you pay a $100 flat fee no matter what your car costs. Nobody has the nerve to tell you 2% of a car. So if you buy a nice BMW, costs $100,000, it's $2,000. Folks, that's outrageous and it's ridiculous. And more importantly, it's not fair, because guess what? This democratic envious philosophy, Stavros, that if I buy a $100,000 car, that's bad somehow. Well, ask the salesman who sold it to me whether he thinks it's bad. Ask the car dealer whether he thinks it's bad. Ask the repair and the guy who makes the parts whether they think it's bad. Ask the people that work at the plant who make the parts, is it bad? Ask the sales tax for the government that got. In other words, if I spend $100,000 on a car and I'm paying 9% in sales tax in the state of Nevada, shouldn't the state be happy I just paid 9% in sales tax, $10,000 on a $100,000 car for all intents and purposes? Isn't that enough for the greed of politicians? But no, they got to hit me for another $2,000 for car registration tax. Let me tell you something. Anyone who runs for governor on the platform of eliminating the car registration tax wins in a landslide. And I'll tell you one last thing. Why not consider Yucca Mountain? I know everybody gets so crazy over that. I don't want nuclear waste in my backyard. But you know what? If you told me that we could eliminate property taxes forevermore by getting, like basically a $10,000 payment per homeowner in the state of Nevada from the federal government in return for taking the nuclear waste at Yucca, I'd say let's go for it, baby. And no one will ever have property taxes again. I think it'd be great. Be like Alaska with the pipeline. Every citizen gets a check, and it's enough to eliminate all their property taxes and then some. How bad would that be, Stavros? Would that be terrible?
Well, It's
worth
good.
looking at. I'm not going to get you in trouble. I don't say you're for it. I don't know that I'm for it. I'm willing to look at it.
Right. I am against putting radioactive waste at Yucca Mountain.
No one's thrilled about it, believe me.
But if somebody wants to make us an offer we can't refuse, there's nothing wrong with having.
What if they're going to give you $1 trillion to take the waste? Then maybe it's worth taking the waste. Anyway, I'm just open to the idea. I'm not for it. Don't get me wrong. I was actually against it for most of the last 15 years. But I've started to reawaken because of the Obama Great Depression to the idea of what would lower our taxes and give a payment to every kid to go to college in this state. We could do some really amazing things with the money the federal government would pay us. It's worth thinking about. Hey, Stavros, last question. So you're a former police captain. How many years were you a cop?
I was a police officer for 10 years, a sergeant for 5, 4 lieutenant. In my last 10 years, I was a captain, 29 years. 29
years. All right, cool. By the way, do cops get mad when I use the word cop?
No.
Cops are a perfectly acceptable word, right?
Absolutely.
I know it sounds better to say police officer, but I like saying cops.
Cops is perfectly acceptable.
I think there's a war on cops out there. I think it's very clear that for the last 8 years of the Obama administration, there was a president who took the side of the bad guys, not the cops, and who never invited a cop's widow to the White House once, or kids orphaned by a cop killed in the line of duty once, but was very quick to invite people to the White House who he thought got shot unfairly by cops. In most cases, those people who got shot supposedly unfairly had long criminal records and were attacking the cop. And Obama took their side every single time without any thought. Press conference, biggest issue in the world. Oh, my God, it's racism. And I just think it's wrong, and I think it's all changed now. I think Donald Trump, refreshingly, will be very pro-cop. Just trying to get your thoughts on the issue.
I agree with you. You look at the last 5-6 years, and there has been a lack of respect for police officers. And it's very unfortunate because these guys put their life on the line to go out there and protect this community. And you see it all over the country where people are, spitting on police officers and not following their orders. But I'll tell you, Wayne, that has not happened in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is still a place that respects police officers, that stands up for police officers, and makes sure that whatever we can do to bring them home safe every night. So I'm really proud of this city for doing that. But you look across the nation, there's been an increase in police officers killed in the line of duty. And
just terrible.
It starts at the top. It absolutely starts at the top. But I want to thank Las Vegas for standing up for our cops and really respecting them. I want to thank you very much for doing that.
You got a friend on this show. Let me tell you. I mean, I could tell you something. I'm a tough guy who played football in New York, and I never cry except when I see a policeman's killed. I can't help tears coming out of my eyes every single time. You guys are the thin blue line that protects us and keeps us safe and alive, and we love you and we appreciate you. And my heart breaks every time a police officer is shot or killed, every single time. In any case, I end every show praying for the police because I think it's that important.
Awesome.
Stavros Anthony, great guy. Good luck in your reelection. Wayne Root endorses you. Thanks for coming on the show, man. You're a good man.
Thank you, Wayne. April 4th is election.
79%. That's what we're aiming for. He's got to win with 79% of the vote.
You're going to take me over
I'll
the
take
top.
credit for 1%. That's all I'm telling you. Stavros Anthony. I'm Wayne Allyn. War Now. When we come back, lots more action for you. By the way, tomorrow, Corey Lewandowski, my friend who ran Donald Trump's campaign for President of the United States, will be on the show. Good friend of mine, now serving on my board of directors. And Stavros, go get him. We'll be right back. War Now. We'll be right back. War Now. All right, Wayne Allyn, War Now. Back in the saddle again, 5 o'clock hour, my first 5 o'clock hour back after 2 weeks out of pocket in Asia, doing a 2-week road show, as they say, a tour of Asia, 9 speeches, 6 cities, 5 countries. What a great experience. Got to meet the people of Singapore and Hong Kong and Penang and Jakarta and Kuala Lumpur. It was a great, great experience, and I learned so much. And I will read you, actually, my commentary from the Las Vegas RJ, where I spoke about all of it. If you didn't get a chance to catch it, we'll go over that in a couple minutes. First, I do want to take calls because it is my first day back in 2 weeks. Some of you have been waiting a long time, and some of you have been waiting a long time today. On line 1, we've got Rich, who's been waiting a long time to get on the line, and I wanted to take you, but we just didn't have a chance till now. Rich, you're on with WAR. What's on your mind, buddy?
All right. No worries on the time frame. Hey, I'm calling. I'm a teacher here with Clark County Schools, and I wanted to let everybody know who's looking for a job. The school district needs custodians big time. And I have a number they can call, and it would be the Human Resources Department on East Flamingo. And every school, as far as I can imagine, is in desperate need of custodians, full-time and subs. So everybody out there, I know you're big on getting yourself up by your bootstraps and getting moving. Here's an opportunity for everybody to jump at.
Well, the whole problem with America, obviously, Rich, I'm a big conservative, right? You know that.
Oh, absolutely, man. That's why I listen to you.
And the problem with America is that we offer welfare so generously for such a long length of time, so many different kinds of welfare, it's hard to get anybody to go to work anymore. You're proving that there are jobs out there. People can't say there are no jobs, but they don't want to clean toilets, and they don't want to scrub floors, and they don't want to go to work each day and get up and have to get up at 7 in the morning or 5 in the morning instead of like 12 noon and watch Jerry Springer and cartoons for the rest of the day. And that's the problem with America today. How the hell could there be openings for jobs when there are so many Americans not working? You'd think they'd be lined up 20 at a time for every one of these open jobs. You'd think, right?
You would think so, man. I get up at 4 every morning to come teach at my school.
God bless you.
And I'm a year or two older than you, and I bust my butt for my kids.
God bless you.
And but we need janitors big time. They can't even vacuum the floors for us. I mean, my cohort and I have strapped on the vacuum cleaner and have walked around our rooms to do that, and then they come back for the janitors come back for the vacuum in the morning, and then we have to go hunt them down and get them again and get it. So it's crazy, but we definitely need janitors. And I can give you a phone number for your listeners.
Go.
702-799-5427.
If someone actually wants to work for a living.
That's right.
Rich, you're a conservative, I assume. Yeah, that's why you're listening?
Yes.
So,
yes.
How many teachers are conservatives? I mean, it's a very small number, right?
Oh, yeah, it's small, and we have to jump from tree to tree, bush to bush, trash can to trash can, and yada yada yada.
Why do you think that? Why do you think that is, though? Why are so many teachers liberals? I don't understand that.
I think it just comes from the mindset of the liberal arts side of things, and also from the people that work their way up through the ranks, specifically to become administrators. And not to say that any administrators in any school are there, but the hierarchy is there, and the start out part is there. Who knows? I don't really have an answer for you, Wayne. I really don't.
It's really quite amazing, and maybe it's because they're government employees, but not all government employees are liberal, but a majority are, certainly a large majority are, except for cops. That's kind of the only exception, is cops are pretty Republican because they're so big into law and order. But pretty much all other government employees just vote to keep the checks coming, and the Democratic Party agrees to keep the checks coming and make them bigger and bigger and increase the pensions. And I guess that's why they became Democrats and why they stay Democrats. But it drives me crazy.
It very well could be. But, again, it's kind of like the Trump voters who didn't talk to any pollsters or weren't asked or kept a low profile because we didn't want to be brutalized. There are plenty of us in the school district. We just have to take a low key
profile.
approach.
Low profile, yeah.
Yeah, low profile. There you go.
All right, Rich. We appreciate it. We appreciate a conservative
one more
Republican
time.
teacher. Go ahead. Give the number again.
Yeah, okay, 702-799-5427. That's the Human Resources Department for the Clark County School District.
And I got to assume there's plenty of job openings for teachers as well, right?
I actually had a difficult time getting my job, even with over 20 years experience in Southern California.
Really?
They want so much. Oh yeah, it's so bureaucratic. But you have to just put your head down and charge and keep charging. I just had a number of experiences that just made me realize that teaching was my thing. I tried to get jobs in other areas, retail mostly, with my experience with firearms and blah 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 blah, and nobody was hiring an older gentleman, so went with back to my love of life, or in life I should say, and that is teaching.
One of my biggest bugaboos, and this is not a conservative thing at all, not a conservative trait, it's just a common sense trait, is that we as a country don't value older people because experience is sometimes more important than youthful exuberance or energy or enthusiasm or any of the things young people bring to the job. Older people are just a wealth of knowledge and experience, and that can trump the youth. And it just drives me crazy. It's the same thing I said with Stavros Anthony moments ago, that we should be, if the legislature has to pass it, then they should. We should be offering bonuses to experienced police officers who retired after 20 or 25 years to come back for a couple of years to patrol neighborhoods. Now that we have a crime uptick and it's going to take 2 years to get all the new policemen through the academy, then let's get some of the old ones back. Same thing with teachers. If you have a teacher shortage, why would you make a guy who's a little bit older jump through hoops or turn him down? It just doesn't make sense. You would want an older teacher,
I got to tell you, Rich. I'm sorry, Wayne. The laws that we have kept me from getting a couple of jobs initially. I was accepted to be a seventh grade science teacher at one of the middle schools, but I found out that due to No Child Left Behind, I couldn't get that because I had a minor in biology, and that was no longer good enough. You had to have your major in the science, and then you would be allowed in. And you would have to go through all kinds of tests to basically attain a 4-year degree in order to then teach. And that was eliminated from possibility for me because of the time frame before the school year started last year. So anyway, I got the job in the field that I got my major in, and I'm not going to say it just because I don't want to be pegged too quickly here. And in case anybody's upset with what I'm doing, but we need custodians big time.
All right, Rich. Rich, we appreciate the call. We appreciate you being a listener. I appreciate you being a caller. I appreciate you being a conservative teacher. We need more of you, and I appreciate you letting people know there are job openings at this school district for custodians. Maybe someone might, think about getting off welfare and getting a real job. We'll take one more call right now. We'll take Brady, one of our regular callers on line 3. Brady on line 3. Brady, you're on with W.A.R. Line 3, Charlie, line 3. Where's Brady? There he is. Hey, Brady, how are you?
Doing good, W.A.R. Hey, thanks for taking my call. I wanted to bring up General Flynn and all this reaction to what Obama did to him. I kind of funny that the Obama administration says that the calls were just picked up as part of a routine surveillance of the Russian officials, and then they call that an intercept. Okay, they intercepted information. Yet, when it's on the other side of the coin, somebody hacked something or Trump hacked this. But when the government does it, it was just an intercept.
Right.
No big deal. They just intercepted the Russian information.
Right.
And I'm sure Vlad is really happy to hear about all the stuff he was doing to them. But my response was to Flynn's call specifically. they said some of the stuff that they recorded or got from the intercept, what they were talking about. Did you hear what it was?
No, I did not.
This is all meaningless. That's why there's nothing even being done to General Flynn. He called once to offer his condolences when that guy, the Russian ambassador, remember he was gunned down in Turkey?
Yes.
Okay, he offered his condolence. That was one call. The other one was to invite him to a Syrian peace talk with Vladimir in one of the foreign countries to sit down and talk about Syrian peace talk. The other one was for a logistic call, so after Trump won, when he was going to be able to call Vladimir. That's about the extent of what they intercepted on General Flynn, and the poor guy resigned because of it.
Yeah, no, I understand. Listen, they were obviously eavesdropping, wiretapping, whatever words you want to use, Donald Trump's headquarters, Trump Tower, and the Trump campaign. And anybody's naive who doesn't understand that was ordered by the President of the United States. Do you really believe that eavesdropping was ordered by the FBI, the DOJ, and no one bothered telling the President of the United States they were spying on the presidential candidate of the opposing party? Come on. Obama ordered it. Obama knew all about it. He ordered the IRS to go after me. He's a bad guy, and liberals just don't want to accept that fact. Wait till you see my column in the RJ on Thursday, slamming the IRS and Barack Obama. The same way they came after Trump, they came after me. There's a lawless administration. I could prove it. Wayne Allyn, thanks, Brady. Wayne Allyn, War Now. When we return, Nelson Sardelli is here. We got the great Italian in the house. He's got the jacket that proves it. Looks like a race car driver. But Nelson is here to talk about my, Italianization ceremony, I guess you'd call it, on Thursday. I'm becoming Italian. The Jew is becoming a Jewish Italian. The Italianization of Wayne Allyn is going on Thursday, Fiore, at the Italian American Club, and you're all invited. We've got him here. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. Wayne Allyn, and I'm back in the saddle again. I've been gone for 2 weeks. It's my first 5 o'clock hour in over 2 weeks, so it is great to be here. It's my first show, and the time has flown. In the studio with us, we got two great live guests. We've got Nelson Sardelli, who is the president of Club Fiore.
One of the presidents.
One of the presidents, but you're the main. But you're the main president.
I am Il Presidentissimo.
Il Presidente. And so, what does Fiore stand for again? Tell everybody.
Fun Italians organizing ridiculous events.
So this is the most ridiculous event ever.
It
is the Italianization of Wayne Allyn. His lovely wife, Lorraine, is in the studio with us. Hi, Lorraine. She's saying hi. I don't know if you can hear her, but she's saying hi. She's in the background watching and filming. And we've got a big event coming up this Thursday, the Italianization of Wayne, and you're all invited.
Yes.
And you've got to RSVP because it's a packed house.
Yes. The most important thing is that I beg, because I know that you're loved and people want to be there this Thursday. We already have a pretty good house. Is RSVP is mandatory. So if you're sitting home, get a pencil and just note it. Very simple. Non-Club Fiore, Fiore, @gmail.com. We must know that you're coming because they open the club specially for us.
Okay.
On Thursday,
All
second
right.
Thursday of the month.
So we've already got a huge crowd, and anyone
Very
else who
wonderful.
comes is going to have a hard time fitting in unless you RSVP. You can't just show up at the door. But it is 11:30 a.m. The doors open on this Thursday at the Italian American Club, which is on East Sahara Avenue. I think it's Sahara near Eastern, is it?
2, 3, yes.
Near Eastern. Yeah, 2333 East Sahara Avenue, Italian American Club, 11:30 on Thursday. It's a luncheon, and you've got to RSVP. And no, Nelson didn't say it wrong. It's a confusing email address.
No.
Non-Club Fiore @gmail.com. That is confusing.
Non-club, because we are a non-club club.
I get it. You're a non-club club, but it's confusing. When you say it, people think you must be making a mistake. No, that's what the address is. Non-club Fiore @gmail.com. It's going to be a packed house for the Italianization of Wayne. And this all started because I was the only Jew who grew up in a 100% Italian neighborhood. And I loved my Italian friends so much that I started to believe I was Italian. I wanted to be Italian. I used a fake Italian name to pick up all my Italian girlfriends, right?
Italian?
I called myself Tony Scalero.
Oh.
And so, it always worked until the day that one of the Italian girls called my house, and my mom got the phone before I did. And they said, "Is Tony there?" And she said, "Nobody named Tony lives here." And then the act was up. So that was the end of that. But I loved Italian girls, and that's why I just enjoyed my time in this Italian neighborhood in Mount Vernon, New York, on the Bronx borderline. Had a great run there. And I mentioned all of this the last time I was there giving a speech for Donald Trump, that I wished I was Italian. And Nelson comes back to me with this crazy idea that we're gonna knight you Italian, the Italianization of Wayne. So this is going on this Thursday, and I'd love my listeners who want to come to share that moment with me. So RSVP non-club Fiore FIORE at gmail.com, and 11:30 Thursday, Italian American Club, 2333 East Sahara Avenue. It's East Sahara near Eastern Avenue. It is the place to be. So tell everybody what they're going to expect when they get there, because I have no idea. What are you going to do to me? Is this torture? Are you going to torture me?
No. You're going to be knighted. It's beautiful.
I'm going to be a real Italian when this is over. I hope I can.
Oh, yes.
Am I going to get a certificate that proves I'm a real Italian?
No, first of all, you're not allergic to garlic, to anchovies. You're not allergic to any of them.
I'm not allergic to garlic. I don't think I've ever eaten anchovies in my life. I hate fish,
good.
but it's okay. All right, it's good.
No. What
What are you going to do to me with anchovies?
First of all, let's explain to the
I'm going to be wearing a nice suit. What are you doing with anchovies?
No, you're gonna love it. See, fun, non-club Fiore.
Yes.
Let's explain to the people at home. Fiore stands for Fun Italians Organizing Ridiculous Events.
Yes.
We meet once.
We've now established this is ridiculous. We get it.
It is ridiculous. We meet once a month for no purpose whatsoever.
Except to have fun.
Other than camaraderie. We have in our membership some of the pillars of the community.
Yes, I know. I met them at the Trump event.
From judges.
And they're not all Italian. That's the interesting thing.
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's one of our rules. To be a member of this club, you must be Italian or not.
I got it. Got it.
We're very adamant.
Very adamant about that.
Very adamant. Either you are or.
And the funny thing is they underline the or not. So.
Oh, yeah. And the beautiful thing is that for 13 years, every luncheon that we have live music, which in itself is a novelty.
Very unusual nowadays.
And it's, we have a great Gary Anderson and the usual suspects. We changed their naming according to the events. And I created this thing because we needed that. It's a group of people that just meet. We have no agenda. We have fun. But we have had great, serious speakers, like when you came.
When I came to talk about Trump, yeah.
In fact, you saw we have a full-packed house that day.
And the crowd was very pro-Trump. And, of course, nobody at the time really thought Trump was going to win except me. But he did win.
And me.
And you. All right.
And
so
me.
there were two, at least two. And he did win.
Yes.
So it was good. So we were all on the right side of history.
But that's the beauty. But within having serious guest speakers, most of the time, it's just playing fun stuff.
Well, we're going to have fun on Thursday.
We had an 80-years-old stripper that came to the club. She was very good. In her day, she was stops. She wrote books and everything. And fun, you know what I mean? Now, for you, needless to say, people at home know that, and I'm not, you are loved, you're admired, and it's just about the kind of people that we want to have fun with.
Nelson's trying to tell me it's an 80-year-old stripper and it's me in that same kind of pantheon.
And worse than
just
that,
so you know,
open for her.
I'm going to be the opening act for an 80-year-old stripper. I love it. It's fantastic. I can't wait for this.
We got the pole. We got the pole there for you. Everything. We're ready.
Everything's waiting. You're ready.
No,
How long has this club been around, by the way, Fiore?
13 years.
13 years. Who started this club?
I did.
All right. So you are the president. You're not there. Everyone's a president, but you're the founder. How about that? You're the founder.
I am the founder, creator, originator, inventor.
There you go. There you go.
And whip cracker.
The whip cracker.
The thing is that there was many clubs before, serious. In fact, I had created one that was serious called the Cast. The Cast was to help entertainers that were down and out.
Uh-huh.
But unfortunately, when you get involved with entertainers, God help you. You know what I mean? So after 6 months, I could not get a financial report, so I pulled myself out.
Yeah.
Because I want to help entertainers that were in trouble.
Yes.
After that, I said, what am I going to do here that is funny? So I create this because he is
Charlie. Oh, he's just telling me. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Charlie's only telling me that we're a minute away from an ad break.
I know. And
Nelson took this seriously. I don't worry about what Charlie says.
Yeah, but
I don't listen to anything he says. I don't worry about what he says.
But I was in the middle of a thing and I lost because I was concentrating on him. Maybe
Charlie's not telling me it's ad break. He's making a suggestion. See? And I don't have to listen to it. Sometimes I pull out of it. Sometimes I take his word. Don't worry about it. Everything's
All
okay.
right, okay.
Don't worry. It's okay.
So anyway, we created this thing.
Yeah.
That we have no reason. Every man is a president. The wives are first ladies, and the ladies that are single that join us, they are ambassadors.
There you go.
We're going to call them interns, but it had a bad connotation.
Because Clinton was president.
You got it. So we left it alone. And
is that Lorraine? Did you start out as an intern for Nelson? Is that
no? And anyway, it's been 13 years now.
13 wonderful years.
13 wonderful years, and I don't want to be presumptuous to say, but the Fiore is now a power to be contented with because people know that we are fun, and we have in excess of more than 200 and so many members.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're over 80 years old, you don't even pay the annual fee.
Oh, you get in free if you're 80 years old?
Yeah.
You just pay for the event.
$1. You pay $1 to join. You must pay.
All right.
And if you're 80 years old, of course, we're not there to babysit anybody. We want people with wonderful attitude and low expectations. That's very
low expectations is the key. Yeah. And all of you should have low expectations for the Italianization of Wayne because it just doesn't go any lower than that.
That's a major event.
All right, it's a major event. We're getting it straight from the king of the Italians in Las Vegas.
We get everything. It's beautiful.
Hey, look, I'm taking it serious.
We're bringing from Sicily.
Yes.
This you got to know. A grandmother to remove all the malocchio of you. You know what the malocchio is?
No, tell me, educate me.
Evil eye.
Evil eye is gone.
Italians believe that
we're going to get rid of the evil eye.
People put the evil eye in you. She's going to get rid of it.
Well, that's the whole point of this event is that I get to get rid of the evil eye.
Because
this on Friday morning, it's going to be the most successful day of my life because the evil eye is going to be off me.
Oh.
I could feel it now, baby. I could feel it now. Wayne Allyn, the future Italian, signing off for the moment. We'll be right back. We're going to list our sponsors. When we get back, we'll have Nelson for another minute or two, and then we'll take calls to finish up the show because I know so many of you had been waiting patiently. Get ready to get on the lines and get in order to take calls, and I hope you'll be at this event. I want to give you the email again, RSVP, nonclubclubfiore@gmail.com, nonclubclubfiore@gmail.com. Nelson Sardelli is the founder of the Fiore Italian Club, and we're having this event at 11:30 on Thursday, the Italianization of Wayne. And if you listen to the show and you've never met me, what a great chance to come out and let's all of us be friends and say hello. Love to do it. They already have a big crowd, but let's make it double the big crowd. Let's have them standing in the rafters.
$25.
$25. Cash at the door?
Or non-bounceable checks.
Non-bounceable checks. Okay. All right. And if you don't pay, they put those big weights on your feet and they drop you in the ocean. It's the Italian way. I just want you to understand that. Wayne Allyn, WAR Now. We'll be right back. All right. Wayne Allyn back again. WAR Now. 790 Talk Now in Las Vegas, 98.1 FM in Palm Springs, and now you could call from anywhere in the United States. We have this huge online following, people all over the country. We get calls from Florida, we get calls from Colorado, we get calls from California, New York. So anywhere in the country, it's 844, toll-free, 844-WAR-NOW-1, 844-WAR-NOW-1. Doesn't matter where you are, Las Vegas, a block away, or 3,000 miles away. The call is free if you want to call in, 844-WAR-NOW-1. Now, we've got Nelson Sardelli, his lovely wife, Lorraine, in studio. Before we get back to Nelson about the Italianization of Wayne, and if all my childhood Italian buddies are listening, you should be here. You should fly out from New York for this one. But we want to take a couple calls. Fly out from New York to Las Vegas. Yeah. So, but before we get back to Nelson, I want to grab a couple calls. Line 2, JD. JD's on the line, our old standby, who was guest host part of the time while I was gone. JD, how are you?
I'm doing great, but getting better. It's nice to have everything is right in Las Vegas now that Wayne and Nelson Sardelli are under the same roof.
That's true.
Mr. Sardelli, I had the pleasure of meeting you at the Orleans a few years ago when you did that fantastic relief for Italian earthquake, and it was a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
Wayne, I have
Yes,
some
sir.
advice regarding this meeting on Thursday, which I'm going to attend.
Oh, good.
If Nelson invites you out to Lake Mead, for a fishing trip. Don't go.
I got it. JD, you're Italian,
smart.
so you know.
I'm smart. That's the way, Fredo, you broke my heart.
I
That's
remember
the way
it well.
Pop,
By the way,
that's the way Pop wanted it.
JD, I watched The Godfather about 50 times now, so I remember.
I'm
I
smart.
remember that scene. Believe me, I'm not going to Lake Mead with you, Nelson. I understand. I'm not going.
That's what he meant when he said anchovies.
Sleep with the fishes. Sleep
And
with the
by
fishes.
the way,
Yeah.
if for any reason that they come down on you at that, I'll be there. I'll be your.
You're my
I'll
bodyguard?
Be your, no, you're consigliere. But if for any reason they reject you and don't take you into that club, you're welcome into my club. My club is called RASA, RASSA, Racist, Alcoholic, Sexist Sportsman Association.
I got it. I like it.
I want to join.
All the Italians are going to join. And by the way, my favorite line of all time is, "Leave the gun, take the cannolis."
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the best line of all time. If you're a connoisseur of The Godfather, you got to love that line. Never been a better one ever written.
But that part was so special. I'm smart. Poor Fredo.
Poor Fredo.
Don't go to Lake Mead with any of those guys down there thirsty.
Doesn't matter how smart you are. If you cross The Godfather, you got to go. We understand that.
Hey,
Nelson,
looking forward to it.
I will never cross you. All right, JD, I'll see you on Thursday. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for guest hosting, too. All right, JD. Now we're on with Nelson. And, Nelson, we're back to you talking about the event itself. And the event itself is Thursday at 11:30 in the morning. The doors open at the Italian American Club. It's on Sahara, East Sahara, near Eastern. The exact address is 2333 East Sahara Avenue. And you've got to RSVP to attend this event. They've already got a big crowd, and they want to know you're coming, or they won't have enough food on hand. They won't have seats on hand. It's nonclubfiore@gmail.com. Now, here's the funny thing about Nelson. So I just have come back from 2 weeks in Asia. I was in Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, Singapore, Hong Kong, and Penang. And it turns out that in the 1980s, Nelson was a singer and entertainer and was traveling the world and was in all of those cities on the same Asian tour that I was. Everywhere I went, he went.
I love the place. They were fantastic places.
Nice people.
Great, yes. Great culture, and I enjoy to be. In fact, that's why I have, when you come to my house, you see a collection of rickshaws, Samlor, the bicycles that have bicycle sidecar.
Yes, I know well.
On the back, on the front.
They were riding around all the time while I was there.
And a real rickshaw, because I was so taken by the culture that I was taking, a guy pulled me on a rickshaw. And when he started pulling, I had a guilt attack. I said, who the heck am I to have another man pulling me? I felt being either Catholic or Jewish, guilty.
Guilt
is our
it's
thing.
huge.
Yeah, so I want to stop quickly, and I was so taken that when I opened on that Saturday night, a guy came to me and says, "What is it you would like to take from Hong Kong?" I said, a rickshaw, so I could bring to Vegas and pull the kids.
So you
around.
brought a rickshaw home from Hong Kong to Las Vegas?
I got a rickshaw. I got 3 big bikes. You got to see. They are from Indonesia.
I'm coming to the
Singapore.
house.
I'll take you around.
All right, good.
In fact, we may go do some
You got
publicity
it.
on that.
And I didn't ride in a rickshaw, but they rode by me constantly in
fully on the
Penang.
rickshaw.
In Penang, they rode by me constantly.
Yeah.
Here's a funny thing about me. Now, because I'm Jewish, Italians like Italian food. Jews love Chinese food, right? I eat Chinese food like 7 days a week.
Do you really?
I love Italian food, but not like I love Chinese food.
Oh.
And there's a famous thing with Jews and Chinese food. It's such a well-known thing that it's a joke.
Yeah.
That the Jewish calendar is 8,000 years. The Chinese calendar is 4. What did Jews eat the first 4,000 years? No one has any idea. Because all Jews eat is Chinese, Chinese, and Chinese. So when I go to Indonesia, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and Singapore, every restaurant is an Asian restaurant. I was the happiest man in the whole world.
Yes.
And it's one of the reasons I live in Vegas. It's a little known fact. I always say it's because of low taxes, sunshine, right? Beautiful women,
And
all reasons. Chinese food, the best. Every restaurant is a 5-star Chinese. Every hotel is a 5-star Chinese restaurant. You won't find that anywhere else in America, but you find it in Asia. So any hotel I stayed in all the Shangri-La hotels, which are the nicest. They're the Four Seasons St. Regis Ritz-Carlton of Asia now. I think they're only the last 10 years. Shangri-La, and they are out of this world. And every single one of them, when they heard that I had run for president of the United States and won the VP nomination, even though it was third party, and they heard I'm a radio host, and I knew Donald Trump, they all gave me the presidential suite. So I stayed in the presidential suite of every Shangri-La hotel.
And they are great.
Oh, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, kitchen, chandeliers overlooking the entire city.
Yes.
Unbelievable the way they treated me. Great people. So that's how I expect to be treated on Thursday. First class by the Italians. I'm just letting you know. This better be first class.
Let's see. Remember that one of our requirements is low expectations and great attitude. Now, I think you're going to have fun.
As long as I'm not going to become like, was it Joe Pesci in Goodfellas?
Yeah.
Where he thought he was being made, and then he walked in and they hacked him? I better not be getting killed on Thursday. That's all I got to say. It's the only thing I got to say.
But you hear terms like, oh, we're going to hack him now.
All right, Wayne Allyn, hopefully not getting hacked. Hopefully getting made. I'm becoming a made man on Thursday at Fiore. And once again, to RSVP, it is nonclubclubfiore@gmail.com. I want to thank Nelson Sardelli and Lorraine Sardelli for coming in. What a great couple. What great people. Yes, I will be coming to your house soon for a home-cooked Italian dinner.
And riding the rickshaw.
All right. Thank you, Nelson. Thank you, Lorraine. Great to have you here. Wayne Allyn, War Now. We get back your calls. Toll free, 844 War Now 1. All right, Wayne Allyn, welcome back. After Thursday, I'll be a made man. I'll be your Italian Wayne Root, and I'm looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun, and I hope all of you, or many of you, will get a chance to come by and have a lunch at Fiore, the Italian-American Club, and join in a wonderful day where I'll be made Italian, knighted Italian, otherwise known as a made man. All right, I wanted to read you my commentary from yesterday's Las Vegas Review-Journal, Sunday's Review-Journal, and it was about my 2 weeks in Asia, prove that Donald Trump is on the right track, and that way you'll get some idea of what I was doing in Asia. So it kind of serves two purposes. I just returned from a 2-week speaking tour of Asia. I spoke in front of hundreds of people in 5 countries about the Trump phenomenon. Actually, it was 6 countries. Oh, I'm sorry, 5 countries and 6 cities. That's what it was. So I spoke in front of hundreds of people in 5 countries about the Trump phenomenon and what his election will mean for the world economy. And I wrote that I'll be on Fox News this weekend to discuss my trip and the amazing things I found out about how foreigners see Trump and the Democrats. And it wound up that I was on Fox News, Fox and Friends on Saturday morning. First, I must comment on the people of Asia. I met wonderful people. I was welcomed with open arms and treated like friends and family, just as Nelson Sardelli just told me. He felt like they were family. This trip was one of the finest experiences of my life. The people I met will be friends for life, and many of my new friends are already making plans to visit me soon in Las Vegas. So I was like an ambassador to Vegas. Everybody there was like, wow, we're coming to see you. This trip was proof positive that people all over the world want the same things as Americans do. Economic freedom, opportunity, mobility, and prosperity. People all over the world crave lower taxes, less welfare, and smaller government, and anyone who says otherwise is a liar. The world does not hate Trump. The media is lying. The people I met in Asia love Trump. They love America. They want Trump to succeed. They actually think he's a breath of fresh air. And here comes the important part. Even Asians thousands of miles away agree with President Trump on key issues, and they are turned off by the Democrats. The audiences for my speeches throughout Asia were about 90% Chinese and 10% Muslim. After my speeches, I spoke to many of the Muslims in attendance to ask about their views of Trump. All the Muslims I spoke to, not surprisingly, were negative about Trump's so-called Muslim travel ban. We all know it's not, but the media has called it that and characterized it as that and branded it as that. And they're Muslims, so I understand that they don't like it. Yet even Muslims in faraway lands think Democrats are badly wrong on the issue of immigration. Every Muslim I spoke to, are you listening? Every Muslim I spoke to thought it was bizarre and literally crazy that Democrats in America oppose building the wall, deportations, or stronger immigration laws. Muslim business leaders said things to me like, how can anyone disagree with a wall to secure your own border? It's your country. You decide who comes in. Every country decides who comes in. Our country decides who comes in. I also heard from Muslims, how can Democrats oppose deportations of illegal aliens? They came into your country illegally. Why would they get to stay? So yes, Muslims want the right to legally immigrate or travel in the USA, but they all, to a man and woman, understood that America has every right to secure our borders, limit who comes in, and kick out anyone that comes here illegally. They all agreed they want the exact same laws in place to protect their own countries, No one anywhere wants millions of foreigners to illegally flood their country and then demand welfare, food stamps, free health care, and free education. None of the Asians or Muslims I met could or would dare support or defend those things. Yet Democrats in America do. Even Muslims outside America think Democrats are crazy. Nutty. Finally, here's how foreigners see the Democratic Party. I met a 75-year-old Chinese business owner who literally laughed out loud at the Democrat response to Trump's State of the Union. He called the former Kentucky governor who was chosen to give the response, Governor Bashir. He called him old, lifeless, boring, and remarked, was he alive? He seemed dead to me. Are you sure he had a pulse? When 75-year-old Chinese men from Hong Kong laugh and mock the guy Democrats choose to give a reply to President Trump, you know Democrats are in big trouble. And I also sat with a group of Chinese businessmen watching the State of the Union in Hong Kong. All of them were shocked that many Democrats in Congress did not stand or clap when the wife of a Navy SEAL killed in action was honored. They found the negative reaction by Democrats disgusting and disgraceful. And given what I saw and heard in 5 Asian countries, Trump's on the right track and the Democratic Party is in huge trouble. Huge trouble. That was my commentary in the RJ, the Las Vegas Review-Journal, yesterday on Sunday. And it really is true. That was word for word what I saw and heard and witnessed in 5 Asian countries, 6 cities, 9 speeches. And it was an eye-opener. It really was. Let's take Frank on line 1. Frank, you're on with W.A.R. How are you?
Hey, W.A.R., you brought up my favorite line, or one of the top, and I didn't, but the one that came to mind was, do you know who my father is? And that was in the scene in the hospital when he had the baker cut. Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I thought that was a very profound, there are a lot of profound lines, but my all-time favorite line, and see if you can name the movie and the actor, my all-time favorite line of Hollywood was drop the bomb, destroy them all. Do you know who said that and what movie it was?
Drop the bomb, destroy them all. It sounds so familiar, but I can't think.
It is. I know you know it.
Tell me.
I'll give you a clue. Marlon Brando was on his deathbed.
So it was probably the movie with Martin Sheen that Brando was in?
Very good. Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now. There it goes.
Drop the bomb, destroy them all.
Wait. There was a better line in that movie. It was Robert Duvall saying, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. That's one of the greatest lines ever, yes.
It reminds me of Victory. The other thing I wanted to call and get in, if you regarding the home invasions, don't just like the gang, the mafia. They started out as punk criminals and throwing dice on the streets. These punk gangs, they know 2 things. Home invasion, you'll do the least amount of time, including drugs. They recruit the disenfranchised punks of school. They teach them how to case a house, how to build, and they just, like the top capos of the mob, they just sit back and collect. We see this house, you go case it, you find, and they break in. They also do the same thing for selling drugs. They get the under 18, and again, the revolving door. And you look at the one thing that ties in, how if you shoot somebody on your front lawn, the cop will tell you, drag them into the bed, clean up the blood trail, drag them into your house. You shouldn't have to. There's a lot of reasons our country's very screwed up. Common sense isn't so common. Thanks for your time, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Frank, and I hope we'll see you. I've never met you in person, so I hope I will see you on Thursday at 11:30. At the Italian American Club for the Fiore event, the Italianization of Wayne, my day where I get made. I become a made man at the Italian American Club. I'm Wayne Allyn. I hope I'll see you all there. I'll be back tomorrow and all throughout the next few weeks. Hopefully I don't take a single day off for months to come because I love spending my time with you. W.A.R. Now is the show, 790 Talk Now in Vegas, 98.1 FM in Palm Springs, soon nationally syndicated all over the country. And as we end every show the same way, I say a prayer for the cops out there. You be safe. Take care. We love you. Have a great night. God bless.